We're going to get started. This meeting is a meeting of the school board in public for the purpose of conducting the school corporation's business. It is not to be considered a public community meeting. There may be time for public participation as indicated by agenda item or as directed by the president. Meeting site is fully accessible. Any person requiring further accommodation should contact the superintendent at the school corporation central office. Meeting will be electronically recorded and will be kept on file in the superintendent's office. A copy of the audio recording will also be available on the NLCS website. Website address is www.nlcs.k12.in.us. Go ahead and officially call the meeting to order. Let the record reflect that all board members are present. Rise and uncover, say the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Review for approval minutes and executive session memorandum from July 21st, 2020. The minutes from July 29th, 2022. And the executive session memorandum from August 4th, 2022.
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second. Questions on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same. Thank you. Agenda item D, persons to address the board relative to the agenda. Moving on, item E, personnel, Mr. Tanner.
Yes, I'd like to ask the board to approve the personnel agenda as presented this evening.
Entertain a motion.
Motion.
Mr. Gerges makes the motion in a second.
Second.
Mr. Bennett seconds the motion. Questions on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same. Thank you. Item F, curriculum, Mrs. Dainton.
First, I have for your approval the service agreement with Orientation Mobility Services in your packet.
Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Mr. Bailey makes the motion in a second.
Second it.
Mr. Lombrick seconds the motion. Questions on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same. Thank you.
Second, I have for your approval a BlazerWorks contract for an employee.
Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Mr. Bennett makes the motion in a second.
Second.
Ms. Collier seconds the motion. Questions on the motion?
What is BlazerWorks,
May I?
Maggie? Can you?
So it is a consulting company that helps look for employees and find employees for us, and so they have found.
Speech, OT.
Yeah, sometimes teachers. So we are contracting that employee through this company.
Okay. So it's not like they're recruiting them, but they work for the company and we contract for the company.
Correct.
Any other questions on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same. Thank you.
Third, I have approval of the following out-of-state travel conferences. I have information in your packet about those conferences.
So moved.
Mr. Lombrick makes the motion in a second.
Second.
Ms. Collier seconds the motion. Questions on the motion?
Yeah. What budget do these come out of?
Stimulate, the ESSER funds is what we're using, and they're written into the ESSER funds.
Okay. And so that's from that's the COVID money.
Correct.
Is that okay? And can that be used for teacher salaries?
It can't be used for salaries. It could be used for
stipends.
Yeah, stipends we pay. We're going to talk about summer school tonight, and we pay teacher stipends out of that money as well.
Any other questions on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same.
Aye.
Item 4.
We have Mrs. Phelps is going to come up and share last spring. I guess it was January. We did a 12 weeks. She led a 12 weeks of Operation Uplift, and so she's going to share a little bit about that.
I have some copies of presentations to give you because it's a lot of information on a tiny screen. Okay, I am Beth Feltz. I teach early childhood education to high school students. So I teach kids how to teach. My mom was a teacher for 30 years. I love teaching and everything about it, and I love education. So whenever I can find an opportunity to support teachers and support the school system, that's what I'm going to do. So a lot of my conversations with Ms. Dayton begin with, I have this crazy idea, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, and this is one of the few times it worked. What we did was a 12-week system of challenges. It was designed to encourage connection and communication while boosting morale. It took place between February and the first week of May, Teacher Appreciation Week, and it was for all staff, not just teachers. We wanted to make sure all 680-something staff members were included. The more challenges someone completed, the more times they were entered in a drawing. Employees had to join a Google Classroom, and then from there, each week, I would upload the challenges. If participants were busy or not interested, they could skip a challenge. The prizes, so we had, and I'll show this slide at the end, we had a lot of donations from the community. A night at French Lick Hotel, an iPad, an Apple Watch, 2 sets of AirPods, 3 $50 classroom supplies, 1 $50 Walmart gift card, 3 3-month gym memberships, 2 $50 beef baskets from the FFA, 2 tumbler gift bags, and a package of 30 Sharpie pens. And I know that seems really ridiculous, but those things are like gold. Go on to the next one. So each week it would be some sort of challenge that it wasn't just like, oh, complete the checklist, whatever. It was made with the intent of making teachers more mindful of the steps they were taking to take care of themselves, take care of their mental health, take care of their physical health. The first one was spread kindness like confetti. Now, with each week, we also did something for each school building as well. So, for example, in the common area, we set up spread kindness like confetti supplies. We didn't include actual confetti, though, because we wanted the custodians to feel appreciated and loved. We really stuck to, like, calm down bottles, confetti cookies, that type thing. We also did positive affirmations and taking care of our selfies and set up selfie stations one of the weeks. Overall, we had 227 members in the classroom. I think percentage-wise, that's about 30% were willing to try it, which is, to me, I was hoping for 10, so I was pretty happy. Some did not complete forms, but they would participate along with us. Sweet Shelley Pritchett down at Playful Pathways told me, she goes, now listen, I joined, but I'm not going to fill out a form because I want other people to win prizes because that just makes me happy. And I thought, well, that's nice. Needmore had the highest staff participant ratio. The challenges with the most participations were the one that were spread kindness like confetti, and then one that was called positive vibes. Now, positive vibes, they simply had to talk to their students about what made them happy and open up those conversations and share with others positive thoughts. Which one of you guys is willing to be a little silly?
Well, I'm all in. What do you want?
All right. Thank you. I knew I could count on you, bud. Say toy boat 5 times fast.
Toy boat. Yeah.
Okay, so little moments like that the teachers could do with their students or to themselves, and you're going to go home and try it in the mirror, and you won't be able to not smile by doing that. The challenge with the least participation was the week of gratitude. We gave them a bingo game, and it was complete these things. And it was a tough week anyways, which is, I think, partly the reason we didn't have as much participation. But then also I gave them a 15-minute video to watch, and we're too busy for that. I get it. We also had a social media week, which I'll talk about next. Many failed at this, but there were more attempts were made to do the challenge, if that makes sense. So it wasn't least participation, it just didn't go over well, but we tried. So the social media break was pretty awesome. We gave credit for those who simply just made an attempt. It was described as challenging and difficult, but refreshing, freeing, and a reminder of the thief of time and joy, and a bit of a detox. Many who could not cold turkey quit still showed relief and changes in positivity, productiveness, and just by making the intentional effort to cut back. So the challenge itself was stay off social media for a week. I wasn't participating to win prizes, but I thought, I'm gonna try this myself. Within the first day, I found myself opening my phone and going to Facebook like 10 times, and then I'd have it open and say, oh my God, what am I doing? And then shut it off real quickly. But that week alone gave us a very good mindful thought of, why are we depending so much when we have family members around us or people, or picking up the phone to contact people and actually talk to them in person instead of seeing just a snippet of something online, which had no context. Gift of kind words. So overwhelmingly, teachers agreed that it was better to give kind words rather than receive them. However, many teachers still noted the importance of hearing that they matter and what they do is important. Repeated key words regarding receiving kind words included reassurance, confidence, and encouraging. Actions speak louder than words was also a common theme reflected through the teachers. April Fool's Week. So if you're ever in one of the schools and you happen to see googly eyes on random objects, you can thank me. We gave them little prank bags that were not harmful to the community, but it involved googly eyes and slime putty that made bathroom noises. But it was a good reminder that we're all kids at heart and to just have fun. And then the teachers, their challenge was also to go through and collect jokes from their students and compete to see who had the best joke. So. The next one, we talked about love languages briefly, but we really wanted to look into like personality tests because we felt like love languages, while useful, maybe felt a little too personal for people. We had teachers take a personality test and then reveal their personality to us, what number they were. If you're not familiar with this, I just put the top two on there because the most common personality of teachers were nines, the peacemakers. They're accepting, trusting, and stable, usually creative, optimistic, and supportive, but can also be too willing to go along with others to keep the peace. They want everything to go smoothly and be without conflict, but they can also tend to minimizing anything upsetting. That might sound really familiar for a lot of teachers. We just don't like to ruffle feathers, but we want everything to go well. And then we also have the helpers that are empathetic, sincere, and warm-hearted. They are friendly, generous, and self-sacrificing, but they can also be sentimental, flattering, and people-pleasing. They're well-meaning and driven to be close to others and can slip into doing things for others in order to be needed. Once again, this is a computer test, and it may not accurately reflect everyone. It's something to think about, and it's something to help principals understand how they're communicating with their staff. You can go on. I'm trying to send people home on time today. Ideal work environments. So this one was fun. We asked them to tell us what their ideal work environment, and the gift that we gave all the teachers were spider plants. And I don't know if you know, but teachers are very partial to spider plants, and I got some very nasty emails when I ran short of spider plants for teachers. No, they weren't too terrible, but I did make sure every teacher that requested one had one. In an ideal setting, everyone would have plants, cats, puppies, baby animals, windows everywhere, limitless resources, extra staffing, endless subs, no fluorescent lighting, sand so they can teach with toes in the sand, and jeans and coffee every day. I still don't understand why jeans and coffee every day can't happen in some schools, but we'll get to that in a minute. Possibly achievable. So these answers varied by building, but they were something to take into consideration. A place where staff respect one another and do not trash talk and work to support one another. Friendly faces, family atmosphere. Administration asks for staff input about procedures, schedules, meeting topics. So investing in your staff's knowledge to make decisions. Improved HVAC system for a comfortably warm, cool environment year-round. A nice staff lounge for escape. Modern furniture that can be configured in multiple ways. And this was a quote, preferably not 1960s modern. This quote directly, the walls of my classroom need to be cleaned and painted, the holes in the walls and windowsills to be fixed, working window blinds to cut the glare of the harsh sun in the afternoon or open them in to let some light when needed, the blower above my desk to be cleaned off because it has thick layers of dust that occasionally fall into my desk and chair. I've asked them if they knew how to fill out a work order, and I think we're just short on help. Now remember, this is last spring when this survey was done, so it might have been fixed before then. But little things like that go a long way. And then additional material and furniture needs. Now I know we're changing to a different system when it comes to certain requests and material needs, so I am curious to see how that rolls out and impacts some of these needs. Creativity Week. We just asked them to have a moment of creativity and submit their pictures. And so to take the time as a teacher to do something for yourself creative, it's a little uplifting. Okay, the last challenge was the survey. So we had a survey at the very end where they had to fill out several questions. It was completely anonymous. It was done through SurveyMonkey. We had 97 people choose to participate in it, and you can see the stats of what building. Mostly it was elementary school, but that's what we have the most of too. So you can go on. As for the overall Uplift process, the whole challenge process, many teachers enjoyed feeling appreciated, encouraged, and validated. The variety of activities and the flexibility and time to complete, and the tangible prizes and treats. Several noted it was their decision to participate and to get involved, and it was worth it despite being forced out of their comfort zone. In the survey, there were several mentions of it was their initiative to buy in. By choosing to click and see all these challenges, it was their choice. Notable comments included, I love how this initiated positive interactions within the school. I enjoyed interactions with those outside my NLCS building, and several references to learning to be more intentional or mindful with positivity. Seeing the displays and gestures of kindness were a good reminder that we are all trying to work together for the greater good. And also, I appreciated the conversations that were started and the reassurance that I'm not alone in my joys and concerns. Now, I want to add to, this wasn't an attempt at toxic positivity by any means. This whole process was to push for communication and collaboration and connection. So I didn't just ask for happy answers. I asked for ways to improve. I wanted people to feel heard, and I did promise them I'm going to present this to the board. So, depending on the building assignment, our strengths. Many reported that they felt a strong connection to their individual buildings and staff, often described as family. Teacher collaboration was another strong suit. The openness to discuss issues and concerns without fear of retaliation. The students, that was over and over again, the students. B&L has a passionate faculty. The strength of the NLCS is my building, my colleagues, and my building's administrators. 99% of the teachers really care and want to be here. The secretaries, we couldn't live without the secretaries. I love that we are making changes in our school with TBRI and trauma-informed care, and our building makes an effort to recognize our joys and our sorrows. Repeatedly, it was that family-like atmosphere, that connection to the building, and feeling close to their coworkers. Now, ways to improve. Respect and validation. So this goes in hand with genuine efforts at morale improvement. But knowing the names of the teachers, and I have some direct quotes on here that I'm going to try to go through. We could start to improve by seeing the teachers and staff as humans. It would be nice to feel like we are a part of a team and not just a number in a spreadsheet. That's something to consider when we're looking at moving around teachers to fill gaps, because retainment of Teachers 101 is if you're putting them where they're strong and you're putting them where your interest or where their interests lie, you're more likely to keep them. Short-staffed is hard, and hiring right now in any corporation is hard. So it is a genuine concern, and just that was a repeated, we just need extra help in the rooms. Communication. Now, there were several different comments on this one, and I'm going to read a few of them. Administration needs to let teachers know about changes, events, and any school-related issues before the public finds out. Our ideas and suggestions need to be heard and considered since we are the ones in the classroom. Well, that makes sense. And then there was another one here, if I can locate it. The reason I don't feel very connected to the district is because I, as an employee, am always the last to know about the changes that are occurring. People from the community seem to have always heard things and asked me about them before I even hear about them. I hate to touch on touchy subjects, obviously, but as I said, I'm here to talk truths and feelings. When the board makes tough decisions and goes home, and I know we all have to talk to our spouses and such, but then those tough decisions are talked about on social media before the administration even has a chance to talk to those teachers. It's hard because you feel like, well, where am I respected and where is my opinion valued in all this? So it's not just the individual buildings that are struggling, it's the whole corporation side of it. And remember, this was done in spring before Mr. Tanner and the other HR and business office changes have occurred. But the number of emails that are sent to central office staff that go unacknowledged is frustrating and unprofessional. Whether it's insurance, payroll, curriculum, just getting a response in a timely manner or just any response at all is a common issue. Our checks at HSA accounts they have errors on I'm sorry, it's a typo. I don't know. No one wants to work where they have to check their pay stub every time to see if they've been shorted time or money. We need to compete with other districts and make sure we have our act together. The lack of communication between those at admin making decisions and us in the trenches results in issues that could easily be avoided. So working just on communication and filtering of information, just like the new FMX system where ordering supplies, I'm looking forward to an email that tells me how I can do that. It's just part of communication, and courtesy is informing us before everyone else. Fair compensation, I'm sorry, it's a dull moment. Of course, we need to be paid what we're worth. That's no question there. I'm not going to stress on that. Instead of outsourcing, creating new positions, creating more opportunities for current employees to work for the school. Once again, this was written back in spring. Over the summer, I'm also in the teachers union, and in meeting in some of those discussions, we are able to be privy to more information than the typical rest of the staff. And we've learned that there's new opportunities coming up where we're offered more stipends to help. That was a nice change that we saw from the previous trimester, spring. Corporation connection versus building connection, something that was very interested is that most people felt very connected to their building, but the overall corporation connection was a struggle. But I want to lead into the community support side of it. I think there should be more spotlight on the good that we do to the larger audience rather than the people who decide to show up at meetings. And that goes back to that corporation connection. You want to feel connected to the corporation, but I'll be honest, and I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to address these people here. And you can hear my voice shaking because I'm very nervous right now. But as a teacher in this corporation, I'm scared of my community, and I shouldn't be. I'm scared to post things positive on Facebook because of the backlash that how dare you be happy to work in that corporation? And that's not a good feeling. And it's not helping our teachers. So if you look at this and you get any ideas on how to uplift teachers, please reach out because I want to help. I want to be uplifted. I want to uplift others, and we're not going to improve the conversation or the school corporation by attacking us, but to have employees in the school system who is honestly terrified of the backlash by having fun, that's not a healthy relationship. I mean, especially when the students that we're trying so hard to take care of are part of the community. You can go on. I want to thank everybody for their contributions. JA Benefits, they were responsible for all of the Apple Watches, but a lot of these donated money, objects, a lot of things that we bought to uplift teachers. I could share a list, but some of them are absolutely ridiculous. But they were with good intentions, and if anything, they brought smiles for a few minutes to the teachers. And then the teachers you see listed to the right, those are the 13 members who chose to step out of their comfort zone and try to make a difference. They were voted by their administration to be people who were really willing to work hard to uplift their building. And so, yes, there were complaints that things didn't get to the schools on time, but I was one person with a warehouse in my classroom, and these lovely people were working so hard to get these out to the schools and distributed to the entire staff. So they should be recognized for what they do. Do you have any questions? I'm going to be working with the union to do some more uplifting type activities for teachers. You may have seen Needmore's post yesterday with puppies. We will be having puppies for teachers to play with tomorrow if you would like to stop in at BNL or any of the other remaining schools. I do encourage you all, though, that respect and validation. Anytime you can actually step foot into the schools and see these teachers in the classroom, and Lord have mercy, volunteer and help some of these teachers, they would love it. Because getting to know them instead of a number on a spreadsheet is what's going to make a difference. And listening to them instead of teachers who are no longer with our corporation, that's where you're going to get the honest opinions. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Beth.
I also wanted to share, get to you tonight, just information about summer school. We had an opportunity to have elementary, middle, and high school summer school this summer. And our elementary program ran May 31st through June 24th. We had 35 pre-K students, and these were just students that came for that summer school portion. We also ran our Playful Pathways through the summer as well. And then skill reinforcement in grades K through 5, they worked on math, reading, and they did Project Lead the Way, so STEM-based learning. And we had 168 students. And then for the first time this year, we ran a high-ability STEAM program targeted at 2nd through 5th grade students. And we had 47 students attend that program. We provided transportation when needed. We also provided breakfast and lunch, and with a partnership with the Boys and Girls Club, we were able to sponsor aftercare, before care programming for students. Here is our amazing summer school staff. These are all the teachers and instructional assistants that helped to make summer school smooth for the students in the elementary, which was run out of both Parkview campuses. I have lots of fun elementary pictures. They take pictures. Middle school and high school didn't take as many pictures, but this is some of their Project Lead the Way projects in 3rd grade. Some of our high ability, they did Rube Goldberg machines one week. They had a different theme each week for high ability. We did parent surveys and staff surveys at the end of summer school to learn feedback on how we can improve next year. Some communication with teachers at summer school was a highlight. Just parents want to kind of have a communication tool to talk with their teachers. And then we also got some feedback about high ability, and just kids were really wanting to go the week they were interested and not so much the others. So we're going to try to figure out how we can work that better next summer. There's some more. They also created their own board game one week. They made salt maps. There's Mrs. Keene teaching a reading lesson. There's also not as many pictures of the littles because they're always moving. They didn't have quite as many of those. Then we had our middle and high school program. So we had the 31 students at the middle school, and these were rising 7th and 8th graders. Their focus was on math and English language arts. We ran, for the first time this year, we ran an in-person high school program. And so we, Mrs. Deckard and Mrs. Wagner ran an algebra readiness program through our AVID, and it was for incoming 9th graders. And so we hope to increase that number next year of students that participated. I think we had about 30 in that program, just to get them ready for algebra. And then we also had credit recovery with targeted support. So math is always an area that teachers struggle. So we had a math teacher, a couple of math teachers available in the summer to help kids, just to help them work through with a person some of those credits that they were trying to recover. And then we also had our virtual high school, virtual summer school for high school with 289 students participating, and these students were earning first-time credit as well as credit recovery. So a total of the summer, the virtual credits were earned was 282 virtual credits earned, 115 credits were earned in person, and 10 credits were earned with Gateway. Gateway also ran, they kept with the Gateway staff for the summer. Transportation was also provided, and breakfast and lunch for these students. And this is our staff that participated and supported that program, those programs. And like I said, we didn't get as many pictures. The big study hall is the first day, and then that is the algebra readiness group. And there was a lot of hands-on activity and problem solving. And then finally, we had Fresh Start. So if you remember the previous summer, we had 3 days to learn the ways. Based on feedback, they revamped it to 1 day, and it was Fresh Start. We had 142 freshman students 35 paid staff volunteers, and then also 40 student volunteers. 14 clubs were represented, lunch was provided, and students got to experience the procedures of lunch in the cafeteria. The whole purpose of the 3 days to learn the ways and Fresh Start is to give students familiarity with B&L, to allow them to find their locker and be in the cafeteria, eat in the cafeteria, and have that whole experience. They received some swag, a t-shirt, and they had some giveaways. Transportation was also provided. And here's, I know it's small, but it's in your packet, small too, but here's kind of the agenda of what the day looked like for those students. They had, Mrs. Baker was very happy with their turnout of volunteers, student volunteers, just to provide that support, scavenger hunts and different fun activities. And then this was the day before freshman orientation, so then students came the next day. So I just wanted to share some of the things that we did this summer and just help support our students. Thank you.
Thank you, Maggie. Item G.
Okay. Next up, board's approval for claims and payroll since the last board meeting in the amount of $3,714,671.17.
Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
The motion and a second. Questions on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you.
Next up, approval to authorize publication of a notice in the newspaper concerning a project hearing. We had done this previously, and it's just, I need the board's permission to approve that in the newspaper.
Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Lombrick makes the motion in a second.
Second.
Mr. Bailey seconds the motion. Questions on the motion?
What's the project? Which?
We haven't determined the
Okay,
project
just
yet.
wanna
It's
know.
just
Okay.
advertising what it would, what it could be. We'll go through that process. We'll discuss it at the public hearing.
Any other questions on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Next, we have Mrs. Toomey just ask us to approve the resolution recertifying school board election districts. It's something that needs to happen every so many years, so she provided us the resolution. It's just reapproving it.
We're not changing anything.
No
We just-
change.
No
we just
changing.
recertified
No
to-
changing.
to
Just
say that it's
Just
still-
updating the
Did
paperwork.
you actually had approved this back in March?
Yeah.
There's the resolution that you approved didn't have the language in it that all North Lawrence community voters can vote for each district. So we added that to this amended resolution just to make it more clear.
Cleaned it up, okay.
No, it doesn't change the district.
Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Ms. Collier makes the motion in a second.
Second.
Mr. Gerges seconds the motion. Questions on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you.
Next, we have approval of a memorandum of understanding with Centerstone. We just do this on a yearly basis as school starts.
Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Ms. Collier makes the motion in a second.
Second.
Mr. Gerges seconds the motion. Questions on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you.
Next, we have approval of out-of-state field trip to London, Ohio for the FFA to the Farm Science Review Show.
Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
The motion is second. Questions on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you.
And last, just approval of the updated retirement payout information for the business office, so they'll just have that on file.
Entertain a motion to approve. So moved. Mr. Bailey makes a motion in a second.
Second.
Mr. Lombrick seconds the motion. Questions on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Moving on, item H, persons to address the board. Seeing none? Oh, we have a volunteer.
Thank you. Is Beth still here? I really appreciated your presentation. I really did. Like, it was really good, and I know that you have such a huge heart for kids, and I've seen you and done things together when I worked for Hoosier Uplands, and you're phenomenal. Like, you're great. I really appreciate it. I do want to say that I'm very sorry that you feel like you can't post positive things on social media. I sincerely am sorry for that. I can only speak for myself. I know the things that I post and I share, I try to be as objective as I can be. And when I see other people, teachers especially, parents, sharing positive things about the school system, I love to share that because I'm still so proud of NLCS as a group of educators because they're wonderful. Like, you really are wonderful. And I'm sorry that there are crazies around that take things to the extreme. I also want to say that some of the things that staff indicated could be improved are a lot of the things that myself, I can only speak for, are working on kind of behind the scenes to make sure that those connections are made. And I have a few things to say that might hopefully help with that, but I appreciate you very much. You'll have to forgive me because I tried to come up with a million ways to formulate my thoughts, and nothing was coming out right. So I just have my papers, and I'm going to try to make it as quick as I can because I don't want to waste anybody's time. So,
Can you start with
Can
your
you
name? And
yes, I apologize. Kayla Hoffman. I live in Needmore.
do your children attend Needmore?
No, they do not. We are in Needmore District,
Where do your children attend school?
Lawrence County Independent School. I have a daughter who is age eligible for the developmental preschool here. She does not attend yet. In the policy manual, in the bylaws, PO 0123, the board declares and thereby reaffirms its intent to A, maintain two-way communications with citizens of the corporation. The board shall keep them informed of the progress and problems of the corporation, and the citizens shall be urged to bring their aspirations and concerns about the corporation and its schools to the board's attention. Establish policies and make decisions on the basis of declared educational mission and goals. Does the board have goals? I don't expect you to answer that now. Act as truly representative body for citizens in all matters related to programs and operations. I just looked through my email. I've sent 8 emails to the board over the past few years. I have never received a reply from Mr. Bennett, Mr. Lombrick, Mr. Todd, Mr. Bailey, or Dr. Mungle, as a note. Board Member Ethics, PO 0144.2. Very last item, winning the community's confidence that all is being done in the best interest of school children. Community's confidence, I've only heard 2, maybe 3 board members specifically state that they need to re-win the confidence of the community. Public relations, the superintendent shall be responsible for the corporation's public relations program, which shall be designed to accomplish the following objectives. To obtain reliable, useful information regarding what residents expect from their schools, what residents think their schools are accomplishing, what residents would like to know about their schools, what residents would like their schools to be doing differently, to anticipate potential problems caused by misunderstanding or lack of information, and take measures to eliminate them before they happen. The board is responsible for determining the success of the superintendent and meeting the goals established by the board. Does the board have goals? Through annual evaluations of the superintendent's performance. The board, in formulating its position with regard to the performance of the superintendent, shall rely whenever possible on the objective outcomes of its evaluations rather than on subjective opinions. The board believes it is essential that it evaluate the superintendent's performance periodically in order to assist both the board and the superintendent in the proper discharge of their responsibilities and to enable the board to provide the corporation with the best possible leadership. The board has an obligation to employ professional leadership best trained and equipped to meet the educational needs of the children. It shall meet that obligation by retaining only a highly qualified person as superintendent for this corporation. Community member asked me to present this information. I understand that it's not legally binding in any way. Most of you have probably already seen the petition. We, the undersigned, are taxpayers, parents, concerned citizens regarding Superintendent Ty Mungle. We demand the resignation or termination without compensation. We believe there's corruption, fictitious information given to the public, unnecessary destruction of taxpayer-bought property, along with harassment and intimidation to employees. Again, I understand this is not legally binding. I have an entire list of names here, which I've chosen not to present because it's not legally binding. But I wanted you to know that I did go through and figure out where everyone was from, so it couldn't just be like so-and-so from Argentina signed this petition. In the North Lawrence Community School District, 1,101 people signed the petition. In surrounding areas, Bloomington, Columbus, Bloomfield, Brownstown, Shoals, 507, and other 470. So at least 1,101 just from North Lawrence District. And I would also like to say that when I went through the names, I actually saw people who I know don't live in Columbus, but they said that they did. I'm assuming that's because they didn't want to be found out. If I could have just another minute of your time, just so that it's on public record. I did send an email the other day to the board requesting a formal evaluation of the superintendent. It's my understanding that Dr. Mungle hasn't had a formal evaluation in over 18 months. If I am wrong, I should be corrected. There are several things that should be happening that are not happening, several policies that I have looked through that need to be updated. The board is failing. And I know the last time I spoke publicly, it was at the OLITIC meeting, and I made a statement that the only critical staffing issue was Ty Mungle. And while I stand by my statement, I'm also coming to realize even more that the board is very dysfunctional, and the accountability between the board and the superintendent is very dysfunctional. There are just things that aren't happening. I don't know what I have never said anything to put any of you down. I've always been respectful in my emails, and so I'm not quite sure why I don't at least deserve a reply of thank you for reaching out. That would be perfectly fine. And I know some board members have even gone so far as to say, paraphrasing, the people on social media saying all of these things. And if you really knew me, you would know that well, with all due respect, I don't know how I can really know any of you until you have a conversation with me. And I've brought multiple concerns in front of the board. They've gone unanswered. I've said in multiple meetings, and I know I speak for so many citizens of this community, and you can ask me all you want if my kids attend NLCS, but they don't right now because you are sitting where you're sitting. I also want to say that I did go back and look at the work session in February about closing OLITIC Middle School. And I watched it because I wanted to educate myself. Was there something I missed? Was there something that would have changed my mind? And as I watched it, I thought, you know, John Hudson, Kelly Terrell, they were passionate about what they had to say, and they had really good ideas. And the motion didn't pass. And I thought, okay, I'm not sitting here being crazy for thinking that this shouldn't pass. And then I got to listening further, and I'm not sure why in consolidation plans it was discussed that class sizes would be smaller and that would be great, yet one of the main people that was speaking during the public work session regarding OLITIC said studies have shown that smaller class sizes don't equate to better education outcomes for students. That was a little bit conflicting for me. And I just want to put it out there that parents are coming to me, and I'm just trying to be an advocate for them. They don't have a union rep. They have me. They have other people who decide to speak up. They have you guys. They have you. And despite what it may look like from the outside looking in, I'm not some evil person that's just trying to like come in and snatch you away from the school board. That's not what I'm trying to do. It would be this way under any administration. I just believe people need to be held accountable, and so that's what I'm asking. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Carly Terrell. I live in Springville. I don't have any kids in NLCS. I did. All three of my kids graduated from B&L. I hope that makes me worthy of addressing you guys. I have to say, Mrs. Phelps, she said you should listen to teachers who are still here. And I agree with that, absolutely. You shouldn't just listen to people who have left because they could be disgruntled. That's a very valid argument. I would like to read to you just 3 messages I received since I've been in this building from teachers. I decided to private message you today as I'm not allowed to comment on your post because I work for NLCS. I love my job, but I absolutely hate the NLCS system. And then they go on to explain to me why they hate the NLCS system. Thank you for fighting the good fight when I, as a teacher, can't. The last few years have been heartbreaking for many of us. Hi, you don't know me, but I'm a teacher at NLCS. I just wanted to tell you thank you for always standing up for the students and teachers of NLCS. It's so disheartening to see what has gone on these past few years. But today's post of credit card statements makes me so angry. Teachers spend our own money to purchase things for our classroom because we have been told we are on a spending freeze, yet they can charge anything they want. Anyway, I just wanted to thank you for always being our voice when we aren't allowed to have one. Why aren't they allowed to have one? I mean, can anybody explain that? I know you don't like my social media posts. I get really tired of writing them. I spend hours researching things that up until 2 years ago, I didn't care about half of this stuff because my kids went to school, they got a good education, and I was glad. I was proud to be from NLCS. I was a Bearcat, first day of kindergarten, last day of 8th grade. I went to Olytic. And I was glad my kids got to go there. I was glad my kids got to go to Springville. I don't enjoy my social media posts. I don't enjoy having to go and disprove things. But I can. And that should concern you. Not that I'm doing it, that I'm able to do it. I don't understand the reluctance to admit that there's a problem. Why can't we fix it? It doesn't have to be all my way, all your way, all his way. Seems like there can be some sort of compromise. But an acknowledgement needs to be made by the board that there is a problem, and 90% of it sits right there.
Angela Stalker, and I don't really have too much to say other than I want to thank you, Dr. Miller, for responding to my emails. You're the only one that seems to. I know that Mr. Bailey has said that it's just people on social media spreading drama. You know me personally, and you know better than that. Mr. Todd, you know me personally, and you know me better than that. I didn't share my email. Carly shared my email. She asked permission to. You also know my boys. You know they're not like that. So when they tell me something, it's probably true. They were one that didn't get served lunch the other day. Did they run out? Yeah. You know what they got offered? French fries, because they ran out of nuggets. They got offered French fries and lettuce, salad. Now what 7th grade boy do you know that likes lettuce? Mine sure doesn't. Yeah, there's a problem. And I don't like to be called a Facebook bully or just spreading drama on social media. Because there is a problem. And I think you guys need to go back today and see what happened in the 8th grade class. And I will tell you, you just lost another student today because of everything that happened today. But I do want to thank you for always reaching back out to me.
Good evening. I'm Ross Lester. I live in Lawrence County. I live in the state of Indiana. I pay taxes in Lawrence County, and I pay taxes to the state upon which the corporation draws its revenue. and I think that's enough. My simple question is, we had the conversation around Olytic and the issues that they were facing in that March meeting. At the meeting less than a week before school, when it was announced the problems were still there and we needed to close it, we had a lot of conversation around what has been done since March. Apparently, not much to solve the problem. So I simply want to just ask the question, in the 3 weeks since the meeting when this agenda item was brought up again, due to poor planning, poor problem solving, lack of attention, and lack of follow-up, what has been provided to the board that is working to make it a viable option and, honest to goodness, provide lunch to kids that are in the building? Thank you.
I would like a response if there's an answer to that.
I would actually like a response from Mr. Bailey, since he said that you promised that all students were offered lunch.
They were offered.
And
We had,
her son was not. Her son was not.
maybe it wasn't what he wanted.
He was offered french fries and a salad.
Were there other things offered besides french fries and salad?
No.
there wasn't.
According to the cafeteria workers, there were.
So you're calling my kid a liar.
No, I'm just saying that having raised 7 children of my own, I know that their perspective of things is different. And that's wonderful.
But he's raised 7, so he obviously.
So you wonder why we won't, we can't talk about anything because of stuff like this. So rake me over the coals. I try to do things, I try to be transparent, I try to answer things, and what do I get? And I get raked over the coals. I get made fun of on Facebook. I get posts. I get attacked on my own company's posts.
It's very easy for you to sit up
It's not
there
easy at all.
and to
It's
be
nothing easy about this.
in there.
Tracy.
Tracy. Moving on, item I, closing business, upcoming meetings.
Someone answer the question
There'll
I asked.
be-
What is
I can go back,
the board?
Mr. Lester, I can go back here. The board administration will not be answering questions, and there's a 3-minute time limit, so. Upcoming meetings, there'll be an executive session at 5:15 PM and a public hearing at 6:30 PM on Thursday, September 1st, 2022, at the NLCS Administration Building. There'll be an executive session at 5:15 PM and a regular session 6:30 PM on Thursday, September 15th, 2022, at the NLCS Administration Building.
Are you closing the meeting, sir?
So there is zero response to the crisis at Olytic. It has not been addressed since March, and there's no update for the last 3 weeks. That's the way the meeting concludes.
Haven't adjourned the meeting yet? Would anybody like to respond to that quickly before the meeting's adjourned?
I will. So your question was, what has the board done, or what? Can you restate your question?
What update has the administration provided to the board on their attempt to solve the problems, since their solution of closing it again was voted down for the second time?
Okay, so I'm speaking just for myself. I haven't gotten any. We've had information about the numbers, the number of students, and the problems that we're having meeting student needs has been clearly expressed to me. I don't know what the administration has done in terms of trying to solve specific problems. I will tell you that I visited Olytic and BMS last week. And I talked to the kids and I talked to the teachers, and it's not a good situation. It's really bad. And that's my own, I'm not talking down about Olytic, but it's not a good situation. My personal opinion is that we did not do enough to try and support it, and that some of the kids, there was a kid who cried talking to me about how, this is tearing the kids up, and none of us want to be in a situation, or I assume, none of us want to be in a situation where we have kids crying, we have kids upset, and we have kids torn apart. But my impression is that we haven't put the resources in to make it anything but miserable, and that has been my concern, and I have expressed that concern to our superintendent, to our board, that is my feeling after having visited. I'm very concerned about students who are there. If my kid was in Olytic, I would move them. That's my personal, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it and say that I think that it's great there, because it's not. And do I think it's our fault? Yes, I do. That's my experience.
Thanks for that.
And just, Mr. Bailey, Indiana State Department of Health says that you have to have 4 food groups for it to be a lunch.
And I think a mistake was made, right? Like, something happened, but I think it's important to know that all kids got some food, right? That, I'm not saying it was a great situation, but no kid was told, you can't eat today.
Right.
But it wasn't what you're calling a lunch. So I think it's more about the semantics of the situation. But I think what he's saying is everybody got food. Nobody was told no. But yes, French fries and lettuce is not ideal. I think we would all agree with that.
Well, just quickly, and I know I'm over my time, so this will be my last comment. I had a conversation with Dr. Burgess and Dr. Miller, maybe another one or two after. It would be nice to know, as big of a problem as it is, and surely, I mean, it is a mess right now. You would think that that would be kind of a standing agenda item, that you're touching in on what are we doing, what's working, what are the options. The fact that it's as big of a problem as it is, and we all acknowledge that, it's not even on the agenda. So what is the regular touch-in to plan to actually address these problems?
What are the plans?
I don't know.
I mean, you're the one speaking. I mean, they have.
Well, they don't have to. I don't have to. So, I mean,
I know you don't, and I appreciate.
yeah.
I mean,
It's a topic of conversation a lot. We spend an abundance of time on it in our executive session.
Trent, I know you. I like you outside of here. I don't like you in here, but I like you outside of here.
I like you.
I love your family. You know that. I don't particularly care for you in here.
Sorry that happened.
But,
Sorry that
I
happened.
mean,
But see how easy that is just to acknowledge that
You know,
and apologize.
Mrs. Terrell, that's
The one thing that I can share from our cooks and the people that work there, they were extremely upset. Just the thought that things were being posted, that they would not feed students. How could individuals think that? Mr. Gillespie was extremely upset, and he says it was just a flat-out lie. He was there from the day that when the first lunch was served all the way to the end. And the fact that no food or kids were denied food. Immediately they went and started making additional food. It was the first time that chicken Alfredo had been served. The cooks quickly make adjustments. They knew that the kids loved it. The next time, they immediately assured me, we will make more next time. There is 3 choices. Previously, all through COVID and before that, many times there was just one choice. Students did not have multiple choices. We are serving almost 600 meals more a day than we were serving previously. It's because of the service, the choices, and the quality of the food that is being served. Yes, some of it is post-COVID, but that many more students are eating lunch every day. Our cooks are making adjustments. Did they run out of the chicken Alfredo? Did they have conversations? Did they offer this? Then was more made, and they made those adjustments. But they felt awful, and Mr. Gillespie was right there the entire time. I would recommend, I don't know, but I would recommend contact Mr. Gillespie. Go in there and have a conversation. I mean, when this all went out on social media, Mrs. Terrell and Mr. Gillespie said they hadn't been contacted. They didn't know anything about it. They were right there. And we can quickly see if what was provided and how many chicken wraps were there and what was there. Not that we make our video public, but the cafeteria has video in it. It's pretty easy to show, yes, there was food there and students were served. And I felt terrible for our cooks because they felt like they were attacked and denying kids food and had tears and were very upset because that was not the case. In fact, they were asking.
That got fries and salad.
And they, well, and there was chicken wraps there the entire time.
Do you eat stuff that you don't like?
And sometimes I do, yes I do. But there was 3 choices that was made. And we are trying to provide students choices. And they ran out. They ran out when I was in school. They ran out when you were in school. And at times, we don't know. Have they put some additional measures in to try to have the students identify which choice they want at the beginning of the day? But I would recommend you talk to the building administrators that were there. You can go in and watch and even have a conversation with what was really done as far as the cooks meeting with you. They're individuals just like you and I that live in this community. They're there to serve our kids every day.
I don't think anyone's, are you blaming the cooks? No. Exactly. I don't think the blame's going on the cooks.
Well, it was implied that they did not get food.
Yeah, but I don't think that people.
Well, but the cooks are the ones that give them food. And
If
they
they
are
don't
the,
have it, they can't.
oh,
Some took things personally. We heard from them as well, so I think that's what's trying to be articulated. We apologize as a district, as an administration. We apologize for the unfortunate issue that happened at Olytic.
In my email,
Yeah.
it clearly said they were offered nuggets.
If I can just add, I think, I mean, I know that there's been a lot of like outrage over this food situation. It happens. It's happened when I was in school, happened when everybody was in school. Oh, they're out of my favorite thing. But I think the reason that people are so upset, and this is just my opinion, is that this is a symptom of distrust between the community and the board and the administration. So I think that's what we have to work on. Because any other time, we would be able to clearly explain to you, oh, sorry, the cooks ran out, or they ran out, and we fixed it, and we're sorry. But I think the reason we have gotten such vibrant communication about this issue is because it is a symptom. I'm not only speaking for myself. It's a symptom of a bigger problem, and people feel like Olytic has been abandoned, and I get that. And I saw it when I went there. I don't think we're not giving them food, though. I don't think that is correct. But I think that's why it feels sort of, to me at least, like, well, why are we so worried about this food situation? I think it's a symptom of a bigger problem that we are responsible for addressing. That's my opinion.
You articulated that really well, nail on the head. The fact that the update that Trent provided and what you guys are talking about as an executive group, great. The public needs some of that feedback. In a situation where we've gone from closing the school 4 months later, we're closing it again. What is being done to address the problem?
He's talking about Olytic in general. Yeah.
you know,
Talking about the update being you working on.
On Olytic, right. And, yeah.
Okay.
I think there was someone else. I'm just,
Well, she didn't get her turn.
Come on up.
Yep.
Coming up, you're good.
Well, Mr. Todd said that the board wasn't
He-
answering any more questions.
I didn't.
No, we just don't
No,
normally answer questions, but you're good with your,
we.
you can come up and speak to us and
you can
address us.
speak.
We just don't make it a habit to answer questions.
Hi, my name is Mrs. Hunter, and I had some questions. New to this, so I apologize for my ignorance on these matters. So, the freshman fresh start,
Yes.
how are the incoming freshmen notified of this?
They had flyers they sent out via school messenger, I believe, too. And then also it was shared in announcements in 8th grade.
And they got emails too.
Prior to summer,
Yeah, before summer was out. It was planned before summer was out.
and flyers on social media? Is that
Well,
what I-
emails. I mean, if they're current NLCS students, and then BMS also announced it during, I believe, during their, like, when they do announcements at advisory period. I don't know. I was just there one day when Mr. Hudson was announcing it.
Because I had an incoming freshman who knew nothing about it. So maybe for next year, just somehow get a hold of the parents.
What school was your child at?
She,
For the middle school?
she was in Atlantic.
Okay.
Okay, so I was told to address this question to you. I was trying to find how the property tax allocation is done from the school itself. Now I got a copy of my property taxes. And I know as of 2018, 42% of the property taxes went to the school.
That sounds right.
I don't know what it is as of this year. But then I wanted to get a breakdown, how the school uses them. And I came here and I was told that it is posted by August 15th in the Times Mail. Well, I'm not a subscriber, and you cannot get it online unless you're a subscriber. So how is that publicly posted if the general public cannot get to it?
I can answer your question maybe after the meeting and give you a link to how to access the budget online. But it's
Okay.
posted to the public. It's accessible by the public.
In some place other than the Times Mail?
Yes.
Okay, that would be great. And then my last question is, why is the Lawrence County Independent School buses not allowed on NLCS property? So that instead of dropping them off at some mini mart storage place or Crossroads Christian School, they could drop them off at NLCS schools where the school buses can take them to the driveways. I know for a fact NLCS bus goes by my house 2 times a day. And if 42% of my property taxes are going to North Lawrence Community Schools, I don't see why North Lawrence Community Schools cannot bus my daughter the 3 miles to my driveway.
Where's she enrolled at? Where does she attend school?
Lawrence County Independent.
Lawrence County Independent Schools?
Mhm.
Then they take on that responsibility for transportation of their students. Liability-wise, we transport North Lawrence Community School students, and that's who our property and casualty insurance, we have insurance and it covers. I don't think you'll find a school district in the state that would transport students of another school district.
I'm in your school district.
But Lawrence County Independent
pay
Schools is their
taxes
own
to
school.
your school
is their own
district.
school. Correct.
So you takes my tax money. You
Correct.
take my tax money.
Yeah.
But I get no benefit.
Yeah, because you choose to not send your kids to school here. But many people may not get the direct benefit of a school system because many of us only have children in school for 12 years. But we pay taxes for the entirety that we own on that property. That's
So
consistent across the state.
So 42% of my property taxes is not enough to cover liability of dropping my daughter off the 2 miles from the school when that bus is already passing my house?
If they attend North Lawrence Community Schools, but not students from another school district.
That still doesn't make sense. Because to me, one of the bus drivers said she was not allowed on the property of North Lawrence Community Schools. So it seemed more like,
I've not ever.
for lack of a better
contacted.
term, it sounds like my apologies, but it sounds like a pissing match between the 2 school districts. And I don't know what's going on between the 2 school districts. Like, I'm not privy to all this yet. But it seems to me that the only people really getting hurt by this battle are the kids. And due to the fact that the 2 schools cannot communicate well and compromise in any way, there's a lot of parents that are having a hard time back to work. For one, when you have to pick your kid up here or drop your kid off there, or
That's why we provide transportation from the home to school and back to the home to the very best of our ability.
I understand
And we
that.
also provide our parents early drop-off
But I
at
had
all
my
of our
children
schools from
in
6:30 in
North
the
Lawrence
morning
Community
till
Schools.
6 o'clock at night.
I had my children in your school district. I had to pull them out.
Okay.
And in fact, I emailed you and called you multiple times with no response. My daughter was bullied for the course of 3 years, putting her in and pulling her out, putting her in to the point where she was coming home crying and suicidal. To this last time, when she went to the high school, got physically bullied. You never responded. Not once. I escalated it. Teachers, counselors, assistant principals, right up the line. Nothing was done.
Nobody had a meeting with you?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
nothing was done.
Mr. Key or Mr. Canada or who?
Doesn't sound familiar at all. I could be wrong though. That was last year. I could get you a list of names if you'd like. But the point being, you never responded either. You're supposed to be in
I'd be
charge of
more-
these schools.
And I'd be more than happy to meet with you if you'd want to.
Now that I'm standing here in public.
I have not,
And I've already pulled my children out. And now you're telling me that the bus that goes by my house twice a day is not going to drop my child off because you provide a school with transportation. A school that my child can no longer go to. Does that seem fair to you? Does that seem just? While you are taking 42% of my property tax.
I will say it seems appropriate. And it's what is done consistently across the state of Indiana in every school district that I know.
Just because it's something that's always been done doesn't make it right. And it seems appropriate. Did you just say that seems appropriate? I'm not sure I heard you correctly.
I said the word appropriate because in Indiana state law that we provide a free and appropriate education. And that's oftentimes what is referred in the state law, and that's why I use the word appropriate.
An appropriate education that comes with a child being so bullied.
And that's an individual issue, and I would.
That is not an
I
individual
would be
issue.
more than happy to meet with you or whatever
I
building principal.
guarantee you that is not an individual issue.
Ma'am, can I ask a question? So you're, was it at the high school?
It was at the middle school
Child, okay.
multiple
That's what you
times
said.
and then the high school. I have put her in because she has wanted to go to public school. She did not want to be homeschooled. She wanted to make friends. So she has been enrolled in NLCS schools 4 times and then pulled back out. And don't for 1 second think it's an individual case. But thank you for answering my transportation question.
Thank you.
Lacey Hawkins wants to talk.
I just actually want to clarify and make sure I understand, because I think as a teacher, I get strung out when I think people are not on the same page with information. So I think you're right about your tax money, the number, but it's, the tax laws have changed over time, so that 42%, and I can help me here if I'm wrong. That 42% doesn't go to North Lawrence, right? Like, that would be a tremendous amount of money, as I think you probably heard people gasp when you said it. That money all goes to the state.
Actually, I have a copy of my tax bill right here that shows how much went to North Lawrence last year and this year.
Well, it does not go to North Lawrence. All tax revenue goes to the state, and then the state distributes the revenue.
It collects it for North Lawrence School District. It collects it from North Lawrence School District and takes it to the state. And then you've probably heard us talk about, because this is something like teachers get concerned about, is the enrollment money. So the state then gives us money back based on enrollment. So we don't just get tax money. All the tax money from our community goes to the state, and then the state distributes it to, they collect it from every county, like every school system, and they distribute it back to the school systems. So, like, other concerns I understand could be valid, but I want to make sure everybody understands that that's not how tax money works. So that the state does collect it and then redistribute it.
To all the schools, right?
To
To all the schools. So
Charter
the state
schools.
basically goes take, and then they look at each system and they go, okay, here's some for you, and here's some for you based on your enrollment and factors like free and reduced lunch and special education. And so that comes back to us a little more differently than just like North Lawrence money to the state of North Lawrence. So if that makes sense. So with the busing thing too, just so we're all on the same page. Because you have different school systems, like, Lawrence County has several school systems in it, right? We've got North Lawrence, we've got Mitchell, St. Vincent, now we've got Springville Community, and LCIS. And so we have 5 school systems in North Lawrence. And I don't know what happened with your bus, but if Mitchell wanted to pull into a North Lawrence school system and park their bus, we would say no, and I think they would say the same to us. That usually school systems don't, we don't talk to each other in some ways, like it's a competing, well, I know, it does. I 100% agree with you, it is the biggest waste of money. And I wish that we were better about being a community, and caring about our kids, but instead, I think what we've done is we've fractured. And so we have 5 school systems instead of, sorry? Yeah, we have 5 school systems that all have to operate as businesses, basically. And so their cooperation is not possible, and this is competition, right? This is school choice, this is what we wanted, right? Like, I mean, not we, I don't. I wish we were a community, but that movement that has said, let's create all these multiple school systems that compete with each other because competition is good. Well, this is competition. So, I'm sorry. I agree. I'm with you. I wish it wasn't that way. I wish we didn't have 5 school systems. I wish we cared for our kids. But that's not the world we have chosen to live in, unfortunately. So they're businesses and they compete with each other. And I hate it. I wish it wasn't that way, but every school system has to compete with each other because of that tax money, because of the funding, for one thing. So I know state legislators would be the people to start with. So
Thank you, Lisa.
I mean, that's the state passes laws that allow these things.
There's people who decide how the schools are run.
Yes. It's a little bit like we've turned education into a business, right? So we're no longer a public service. Like the Bedford Police Department doesn't have to compete with anybody. It's just the Bedford Police Department. The Bedford Fire Department doesn't compete with the Bedford Fire Department. But
Other schools don't have to compete with each other.
but they do because of the money. We are in competition, right? I mean, I think people have said that.
Okay,
So
if you're in competition for the money,
we're
you want to retain as many students as you can,
so
correct?
yes. I'm sorry. Say that again. I just want to make sure I understood you.
If you're in a competition for money,
Yeah.
you want to retain as many students as you can.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so in order to retain students, you also have to keep the parents happy.
Yes.
Because from what
I mean, you're kind of saying like every parent's right, and I guarantee you guys don't get along with each other. So, like,
what I'm
that's
hearing
hard.
is that a lot of parents are pulling their children out of NCLS.
Yeah.
So NCLS is losing money.
Yeah. No. Yeah. You're right. No,
That's what I'm hearing.
But that's true. Every school
So-
system is in
okay.
that situation.
So,
Lacey, thank you.
I'm sorry. I was like, I'm
No,
really just trying to clarify tax law and make
I-
sure we understood how tax money works. So I don't want to try to speak
No,
for
that-
all the things. So I just want to
Thank you though, Lacey. We appreciate it. Entertain a motion to adjourn. The motion and a second.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. No, I think that